Welcome to another episode of Are You Mad at Me? I'm Vicki Morgan.
I'm Josh Morgan.
Episode 28.
Are we at 28 already?
For anybody that's counting, that's a lot.
28. Did you know that's my lucky number?
Yeah? No, I did not know that. Tell me more about that.
It's not. I just made that up just now.
Maybe it'll be your lucky number.
It could be.
You never know.
This could be the big one.
So welcome to another episode. This is really great. I'm looking forward to it. Summer seems to be here. We've had a nice few days of good weather here in Newfoundland. And
it's only getting warmer this week, so that's exciting.
And it's getting dark really late. So it's like 9 o'clock when it's getting dark, which is like, I love that. We should go wherever that happens all the time. Like
late
when it
darkness?
stops here. Yeah, when that stops here,
There's
should go.
some places you can go where the sun doesn't go down for like 6 months at a time.
Yeah, no, I'd like some sleep. Anyway.
There's a really good movie with Al Pacino, Insomnia, I think.
Yeah.
Where he like goes to Alaska or somewhere up there and he's trying to solve a murder, but he can't sleep because the sun won't go down. It's not supposed to be a comedy, but I always it's brutal because it's
hilarious.
It's like he's just like going crazy because he can't sleep and his brain stops. He's like this genius, brilliant detective, but he can't. I feel like that one had Robin Williams in it too, but I might be mixing up my.
I think that might be 1 hour photo.
That was a creepy one with Robin Williams.
I want to watch those again. I'm very excited about Life Day. So it's a really great time to.
We just got home from a walk with the boys and the dogs. We were going to go deliver some product to a customer, a very happy client, and we can talk about that if you want. But
sure.
We don't have a car still, so we walked. And it's not that far. Like it's a good walk. It's a decent walk. Like we've done it before. We've walked to this guy's house a couple times, but it's like. How
about I'm going to jump back. Let's put positive vibes out into the world. We are getting closer to our vehicle, to the next vehicle. It's not that we don't have a car. Is that we are another day closer to the next vehicle.
Yeah. So we had to we got the idea to deliver this product to somebody and
by foot.
And we were just going to walk over there. Yeah, no big deal. And then when we were leaving, we're talking to the boys. They're on their computers playing with their friends. No big deal. It was like, we're going for a walk. You guys can come if you want. Whatever.
And then the dogs were like, hey, we want to come too.
And the boys were like, all right, we'll go. And then the dogs were like, we're going for a walk. And then so we ended up walking to this guy's house. And then on the way home, we were going to go home. But then the boys were like, let's go get some Wendy's. And Wendy's was not on the way home. It was pretty far off. So we're making this second leg of a triangle at this point, and then we get to Wendy's and it's closed. They closed at
9 o'clock.
They closed there, and then they're like, you can go through the drive-thru. I was like, oh, thanks, we're walking. So so then the boys were miserable because it was like the only thing keeping them walking was getting Wendy's and then like getting re-energized to go home, and then. Whereas like when the Wendy's is closed, so we walked all the way back up anyway, with the dogs and the boys, we walked 7.5 kilometers tonight.
So the dogs are tired.
The dogs are white. This is Sparky is here. If you're watching on video, he is exhausted.
Yeah, Maby's down there. She's exhausted also. Yeah. So it's great. Everybody had a good.
But it was like 20 degrees today. Like when we got home, it was starting to get chilly, and I looked at it was like 15 degrees. Like holy cow! But it's only supposed to get warmer.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
and it's nice. I like going for walks with you guys. It's pretty fun.
We did see somebody on the way home with a window unit air conditioner, just like so precariously perched in their
open window.
It was one of those windows that swings open like a door. It wasn't like a slide up kind of window that you're supposed to put an air conditioning unit in. So it was swung open like a door, and then it looked like. I mean, I'm sure there was something on the other side of the wall holding it up, but it looked like it was just sitting there.
Like in Seinfeld.
Yeah.
When what was the something 2000?
Yeah.
Remember the air conditioner fell on somebody?
So many BTUs.
Yeah. That was funny.
Yeah.
We also saw someone walking a kid on a leash. So please
We saw somebody with a cat on a leash yesterday.
But today was a person.
It was a person. That was
different. So if you have an opinion about that, call us at 1-800 what the hell. It was pretty funny because we were out like pulling our dogs, and our dogs are basically walking us, and we saw someone with a little girl on a leash, and we let them sniff each other. Yeah, it was. We loaned her a little poop bag because you're supposed to clean up after your pets.
Oh, it looked to me like a grandmother. So like,
even so,
I feel like. Well,
grandmothers hold your hand so tight that they almost break your wrist.
That's kind of two-sided, right? Like, because
maybe she was walking the grandmother.
Maybe. But on one side, grandparents are going to have a harder time chasing after a kid, so you'd want to leave. But at the same time, I feel like if a kid pulled on a leash, a grandmother
thrown out a hip.
Wouldn't have as much strength to hold.
And I find grandparents or grandmothers especially that's not an issue for them because they don't let you, like, you're not going anywhere. They have death grip. Like that's one thing that they don't let go of is they like that. I hated holding on to my grandmother's hand.
They've had
from everything I've seen from grandmothers. That's
90 years.
Anyway, again, call in if you have an opinion on whether you should put your grandmother on a leash or if they all have a death grip. And should
Let the boy walk your grandma.
And should you clean up after your grandmother when you take her for a walk in the city?
Okay.
You know? But I did have an idea for something the other day. I don't have a solution to this. I just have an idea for a business.
Somebody's going to take this idea and they're going to steal it and use it and
they can have it. I don't know what to walk a grandmother. My grandmother's dead.
Not that idea.
I'm not going to dig her up and
you're
walk
getting
her.
ready to talk about.
Oh, they can have it and then call me because it's a service I would love to use.
Yeah, that's true.
So right now, of course, if we lived in a big city like New York or Boston or something fun.
Toronto.
St. John's is fun. Toronto, yeah.
Toronto.
So people who live in those cities generally don't have cars, especially, in the really big cities.
Yeah, it's easier to get around a big city without a car.
They walk or they take the subway or they take Ubers or whatever. And so the challenge that we're faced with right now is that the weather is getting really nice. And it will be really nice to take the dogs for walks. But we live on top of a cliff. So it's like the down part's not so bad, but walking back is awful. It's a bad hill. I don't mean to complain, but it is a bad hill. So if there was a transportation mode where you could go to a hiking trail with your dogs. That's my first business idea.
You're talking about like a ride share or a taxi, but it would
that
also
allow
pets.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we had a brainstorming session the other day, and it was brutal. We found out how dumb we all are. It was like, what about if it was a bus and you could pick up a dog on a bus? And then I was like, well, the dogs would fight. And I was like, okay, what if there was a bunch of kennels on the bus? And it was like, I mean, that could work, but then you like just getting off the bus, the dogs could still fight on the way, and whatever, people could get bitten. And then I had an idea for what if we just rent a U-Haul pickup and put an open air, like a locked kennel in the back. And Josh thought that was a bad idea. But I've seen people with dogs in the back of the pan of their pickups.
Now, to be fair, what we were talking about was our trailer, which is very light and very bouncy.
I was talking about a pickup.
I thought you were talking about putting the dog's kennel in the trailer, which would be like, I feel like that thing bounces around so much.
Okay, so the next idea that I had was that we put locking dog kennel in the back of the trailer with our bicycles. And then Josh pointed out we wouldn't be going somewhere with the bikes and the dogs at the same time. And I said, that's a great idea. I mean, that's a good point. So we really didn't come up with anything. But what I'm saying is you can get a ride share just about anywhere, but you can't take pets in it.
Yeah.
And we are a lot.
To be fair, we haven't asked.
Well, where would you put that on the app? You can't even ask for an extra big car. Well, you can ask for an extra large car now.
You can do
Uber XL.
Uber XL now. It's more expensive and it takes longer, but it's very cool to get a van. Because we had one of the kids' friends, we had like six of us, 5 of us, and then it was awesome.
But it can fit 7, right?
6.
Okay, so you can get 4 with a regular Uber.
Yeah.
Well, what's the maximum on Uber X?
6.
L. Okay, all right. So you can get 6-seater, which is fun. I was thinking about,
and then the driver, that doesn't count.
Right. I was thinking about that's kind of a raw deal for the Uber drivers because someone let's say we go somewhere and it's like $15 as rideshare with 4 people in there. I mean, that's like a couple of bucks each. The rate is kind of funny because they they look pretty shocked every time
it's more expensive.
Every time we all pile in an Uber, they kind of look at us like, "Are you serious?" Because it says a 4-seater and we use all of them. Anyway, one of the challenges I have right now is I would like to go out on some of the walking trails because walking up and down that hill is kind of a pain, and the trails are nice because they're not only scenic, but you're not crossing a lot of roads, and it's, you don't have to walk up that big hill at the end. And I do like driving to hiking trails, which kind of makes me a non-hippie or a non-bohemian, but is bohemian a bad word?
I don't think so.
Okay. So that's my new business challenge is I would love to, like we were saying a few months back, I wish somebody would come pick up that stuff that we want to donate to Valley Village. I wish they'd come pick it up. And there's actually a guy in town he calls himself Buddy with a Truck or Friend with a Truck or something like that. So there are pretty much for everything you can say out loud, there's usually a solution to it.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if there's anybody interested in driving a family with their dogs to a hiking trail. So we have a friend who lives in La Manche and has a bunch of cabins.
Cabins, yeah.
And so what he does is he has this like big 15-passenger van, and he will drive all the people staying there to the East Coast Trail at a drop-off point, and then he will drive like 6 hours later in the day. He will drive to an end point and pick them all up. So because the East Coast Trail, of course, goes everywhere, and there's not a lot of loops in it. It's a lot of like you hike from here to here, and then of course the challenge is
getting back to your
after
car.
You've gone 20 kilometers in the woods. you don't want to hike back 20 kilometers to get back to your car. So he solves that problem with dropping them off and picking them up later on down the trail. So I'm just saying it would be nice if you could do that with your dogs. And I don't know if it would have to be like a one person at a time or, because you need dogs that are well behaved.
And like if we wanted to go ride bikes on a trail.
There's also that. And I realize that you could ride your bike to the trail, but the problem is...
By the time you get there.
The trails are so far from where we live. So our bikes are just sitting there collecting dust. So that's a couple of business ideas. Going to give you those for free if you are interested in starting a brand new... We don't know what we'd call it. We were going to call it U-Bark.
We did get stuck on the name, and then we just stopped talking about it.
And remember years ago, there was a production company at the end of their shows. It would say,
Ubu.
sit, Ubu, sit, good dog. And he would bark, and they'd say, good dog. So I think it could be called Ubu. I'm just throwing it out. It's a free idea. Take it. And if you do start a company that transports families with their dogs, please let us know.
And
we would pay for it.
We haven't done our research. This might already exist. We didn't actually look it up. We were just talking about it.
Well, I don't know anybody else that's trying to get somewhere with their dog, but you never know.
Yeah.
Anyway, are there pet friendly? Oh, I bet you we could go on Bring Fido and see what kind of stuff they have.
I don't know what that is.
It's a hotel listing where places you could bring your dogs. Okay. So
we'll do research. We'll just tell the whole world about it on our podcast and then do research after.
I'm just saying that this is a challenge we have been thinking about now that the weather's getting nicer. Yeah. And we are a lot. I understand that we are a family of 4 with 3 dogs. That's a lot. So there's not really anyone we could call up and say, hey, want to go for a hike? Because who wants to bring on 7 beings to go for a walk? I mean, there's no one person that wants to take all that on. So
it's a lot.
It seems like you'd have to pay somebody for that. And then maybe we just need to meet more friends who have 7-passenger vans.
That's true, yeah.
I don't really like people who have minivans, though. They're very not cool. They're usually kind of duds. No offense, but people who drive minivans...
If you have a van, you're a loser. Sorry.
But people who drive vans are generally not the coolest people ever. I mean, I do know one person that drives a van that's pretty cool.
The A-Team?
No, Alan Doyle has a minivan.
Does he?
I saw him getting in it one time. He was loading a bunch of band gear in the back of it.
Band vans, that's the thing.
Now, a band van is very cool. Oh, I do know somebody. Arthur O'Brien has a van for touring with the band.
There you go.
I wonder what when they're not touring with the Navigators, I wonder what he let us use it for. We could, not only could we use it to bring our dogs places, but maybe we could provide that service while we have it and rent. I wonder, could you rent a van? Anyway, lots of business ideas, lots of good ideas here.
A lot of stuff happening. Putting it out into the ether.
There's no wrong answers in brainstorming, right? Anyway, we do have some good news.
What's the good news?
Well, first of all, Josh is halfway through his work term, and he's doing really well, because guess who he's doing his work term with?
Self Published NL.
All right. I mean, really, seriously, right? Like, how great is that? So, here's what happened.
We had an opportunity, and we took it.
Here's what happened, is we had an idea. So, we've got, right now, you've been with us now for us, with the team, with the
company.
With the 1 Pound Gorilla marketing
organization.
Company, production team. And this is your second weekend. I think you're looking pretty good for being Employee of the Week again. So hats off to Josh. Yay. Can we put some congratulations and confetti on the screen?
I got to keep designing plaques, don't I?
We're going to get you some trophies. So right now, as we speak, there are 3 different proofs on the way. Could you call them proofs? If it's more than one?
So proofs, I don't know that everybody knows about the proofs, but when you are publishing a book, when you're self-publishing and you get a draft done, and you upload it to KDP and check everything, you can order a proof copy, which is basically they send you a copy with a big black streak across, a big black line across the front that says proof copy, not for resale. And it's just for you to look at, hold it in your hand, see how it feels, see if the text is big enough, the paper feels nice, and the cover looks good and all that stuff. Because like we did it with Mike Boyle's book a few weeks ago, we got a proof, and on the back cover, my text went a little bit farther than it should have because I didn't account for the fold. When the cover is folded back, there's a little fold on the edge, and that cut off some of the text. So we moved it over, so you wouldn't see that in the template. It wasn't even. I don't think there was a fold line there on the template.
No, why would it? There wouldn't. So that would be something you'd need to see in person.
So you get a proof copy, and then you go through that, and you see how you do another edit, and then you can, if everything's good, you order. You're good, but if you need to order, you can order 10 proof copies.
Changes, yeah, and it's like $3, $4, something like that.
So right now we have 3 different books in the proof stage headed to our house. So we have a physical copy of 3 different books to
and so here's something we learned this week. First of all, I should mention too that I just had some chocolate cake, so I'm a little bit fidgety.
I just had a cup of coffee.
Yeah, so I'm I'm a little jittery.
We're going to have to cut this one short.
And run around the house and drink a bunch of water.
That was my best Alexis Rose. Cut this one short.
Well, I was thinking more of like when Pam was drunk at Chili's and she was staring at him, staring at Jim while he was talking. That's what I felt like just now.
Called second drink.
Yeah, these are deep cuts.
All right.
What I found out this week is that when you are hardcover books on KDP in Canada, this is for the people who want this information. It is a little tiny bit of a glitch with doing a hardcover book in Canada, in that it's, I don't know why, but you can order a proof copy, but so basically you hit order proof copy and it goes to your Amazon basket and then you order it through there. So what happens is, and I saw this on a Reddit thread and I didn't quite understand it, but in practice it kind of like, oh, that's what they meant. It goes to your Amazon basket and it'll come up right away and say, this cannot be delivered to this address. Change the address before we go forward. So I was, well, I don't know. So on Reddit, it said, change the address to an American address. And I was like, all right. And
Just assuming that you would have to send it to an American address. It said
to order it from the Amazon.com marketplace, which I did. So when I got to the area that said, you need to put in another address, it was like, well, okay, I guess it's not going to work. So my friend Denny stepped up and she said, just send it to me. And I started to put the address in. All I had to put in was a zip code, which released the basket. It released the Amazon basket. And then I just went on and paid through, I guess it jumped over to Amazon.com. But it was no trouble to have it delivered to Canada. So that's what I found out.
That's kind of like the tax interview and the other stuff that you talk about. Like at first, it seems like this isn't going to work. It's too hard.
I must have made a mistake.
But then if you just go another little step,
just a little tiny nudge. Yeah. And of course, Reddit is amazing because it tells you somebody has had the same problem at some point in your life. Like I bet you if we Google how do you get to do a trail with your dog in St. John's, Newfoundland, there's probably 15 answers already.
100%.
Or we start a thread on Reddit and
there you go.
Mention that we have books coming out and marketing. But anyway.
But that does bring up a good point because one of the 3 books that we have on the way is a hardcover.
Okay, so the first one is called How to Be a Famous Sexy Writer. And I read a little bit in the last podcast. I read the first chapter. I might take that chapter out. I had a little bit of an interesting experience today with that one, so I'll get to that later. That's the Are You Mad at Me segment. But so the first one is called How to Be a Famous Sexy Writer, A Guide to Self Publishing.
Some companies still know how business is done.
Exactly. Ride for rabies. Rabies run.
Michael Scott annual. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
How to be a famous sexy writer.
Right.
A guide to self-publishing.
Yes. And so that's got information on, this is just straightforward text. There's no pictures or anything like that. It's how to publish a paperback, how to publish an ebook, and some marketing advice. I think there's 6 or 7 chapters in there on marketing, which if you've listened to this podcast, you've already heard it all. So don't rush off to get the book because you've already heard all of it. I mean,
you've taken the class.
You pretty much, yeah.
You don't need
but
to read
it was
the textbook.
gleaning all that and putting it into the book. And so the first one was, okay, like we got this novel. It's like 120 pages or something. Because I kind of came across this idea about writing a mini book. And I was like, oh, if I don't need to write a 200-page book every single time, like, oh, okay. And then that kind of, the advice online is you can do a mini book that's between 50 and 75 pages that just basically has your expertise on a topic. So this one turned into about 120 pages. Josh designed the cover and the back, and it's gorgeous. You did a great job. Your work term's going amazing.
That was most of my week.
And so then the idea came for I wanted to do coloring books because we had Nicole Kiley on the podcast a few weeks back, and she does coloring books, and her niche market is dental hygiene. So she has coloring books related to brushing your teeth and taking care of your teeth and which snacks are the worst for cavities and all those things. And it was like, so when she sells her coloring book, she is letting people know about her dental hygiene clinic. Also, Nicole does marketing for dental hygiene clinics across Canada. So every time she sells a book, she has a coloring book and there's a bigger one.
Like a workbook.
There's a teacher,
it's like an instructional,
an
teacher
instructor guide or for doing presentations and things. It's like a teacher resource. So every single time she sells a book, she is marketing. Her name is out there as Nicole with I don't know what the designation is, something with a D in it. There's letters after her, RDH.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So she has that designation. I guess it's RDH, registered
dental hygienist. Yeah, probably.
So she is marketing the marketing company that she has called Word of Mouth Marketing, and people are buying the coloring books and having a great time. And it's like but the adult coloring world is a massive market if you're interested in making money and having fun doing it. So a lot of the adult coloring books are like these really intricate mandalas, and they take you like 17 hours to do them. Nicole's books are, I think one of them's called There's a Monster on My Toothbrush, and I think there's another one called There's a Carrot on My Toothbrush.
Yeah.
And she just had them all translated into 7 different languages. I mean, she's a marketing genius.
Yeah.
She's also a brilliant dental hygienist, but she has all this stuff going on in her brain. She's so brilliant. So that kind of sparked something for me where I was like, what if somebody only wanted to do a paperback? What if somebody finds this really difficult at whatever age you're at? Like, what if there was a break in between each chapter where you could stop and color? And it was like, it just kind of blossomed from there. And it was like, what if I put a blank page on the back of every coloring page so that if you did use alcohol markers, it wouldn't bleed through the rest of your book? And here's all the things broken down into easy to read chapters, which is in the first one, which is in How to Be a Famous Sexy Writer also. But it's more of like, there's a different market for someone who just wants to publish a paperback, who is probably writing a manuscript, a little afraid of like, what's the next step? This book breaks it down, and it also has... every chapter has a coloring page in between, which Josh designed.
And also, this is really cool because all the books that you've done so far have been 6x9, like just, novel size books. And the How to Be a Famous Sexy Writer is the same 6x9 paperback. But with the coloring books, they're both 8, not 8.5 by 11, 8.25 by 11. The hardback and the paperback. So they're bigger. They're basically like the same as a sheet of printer paper. Mm-hmm. And so you got a whole, like instead of coloring in a small book, you got a whole coloring book sized.
Well, that's what I wanted because I love coloring pages that are white. I don't like the newsprinty kind of darker pages.
Yeah, the really cheap construction paper.
And it rubs through. So one of the things about ordering through KDP is you get this really nice bright white paper, and with nothing on the back of it, it should be fine for crayons, coloring pencils, or markers. Or watercolor if you wanted to. But I wanted a coloring book that I wanted pictures because I can't find coloring books that I like anymore. Like I really like the old timey ones from the 80s. So we went and did a whole bunch of research. And so right now, and the reason for the 2 different versions is there's a whole bunch of stuff going on right now. So if you're tuning in for self-publishing advice, this is the episode to listen to.
This is it.
So as far as marketing goes, as far as like covering the market and getting to those niche markets, someone who's interested in a coloring book might also want to, so it's not like, I mean, I don't know how to explain it. It's a mental break. It's a mental health break in between the chapters that are just fun.
You could skip right over it and just read through the whole thing if you wanted to.
Could, yeah.
But
or
it's
you
also
could tear
like
the pages out and color them.
It's also just like a little reminder of like, hey, take a break. Color.
Look what you did today! Yay! Yeah. You just learned how to do the banking information or put in the banking information. Take a little break. Give yourself a piece of cake, which I've been eating cake all day. Or put in the text. Do the text interview. It takes like 10 minutes, but it's exhausting. I mean, it can be a little bit mentally taxing. Pardon pun. And then so you do your little coloring page. Or the other thing is, when you get tired or when you get like when you need a break from something, like you feel bad or you've made a mistake or whatever, like you're having a bad day, there's like a little glimmer of like, you know what? Yes, you feel like garbage right now, but there's like a little glimmer of, okay, fine, maybe I'll try again. And you can just ease back into it and color a page instead of reading anything. So, and the idea for doing a paperback and a hardcover is this. Some people like that sturdy for coloring. Some people are fine writing, just, coloring on a table or whatever. Some people like to do coloring in bed or reading in bed. And so it's a hardcover, so that there's like something solid to color in your coloring book. I'm
excited about seeing them because I think that it's going to be really interesting to see this is a new format for us, doing the larger paper and doing a hardcover. I can't even picture in my head what the hardcover is going to look like because
me either.
Usually hardcover books have a dust jacket.
So these don't. These are printed right on harder cardboard for the covers, and it's printed right on the cover. So it's going to be pretty cute. Josh designed the covers for those. And so right now what we're looking at, it's a lot, but we do have you for a few more weeks on your work term. And who knows what it's going to turn into. But so How to Be a Famous Sexy Writer is in its absolute final proof copy. So that'll be ready to roll, I think, in about another week. Once it gets here,
once we get it, we're going to double check, but it's pretty good. I think it's going to be solid as long as there's no issues with
the third copy, right?
With the design.
This is the third proof through.
I'm not sure. It's at least a second,
I think.
Yeah.
So the stages, and we also did this little mini tiny micro book, Josh called it. It was we learned how to do a zine. Am I saying it right?
So we have an event coming up that we were looking at, like what can we have at the event for people to take home as like a business card from us. We could just print off 100 business cards, and that's fine, but
boring.
That's kind of boring.
So the event, we should say, is Michael Boyle's book launch.
Yes.
Michael Boyle and Randy Crane are going to be in Fairyland on June 14th from 2 to 4 p.m. To do signing and readings, and Loyola Hearn is going to be there. He was the ambassador to Ireland for a while, and he wrote the foreword in the book, and so they're all going to be there, and you can buy books and get them signed. And so we wanted to go along as a sponsor of the event, so Self Published NL will be there. We are going to have a banner there so you can see where we are. We'll be at a table. You can ask questions about self-publishing, and it was like we could come along, and I didn't want to bring our own books. I didn't want to sell books at the event because it's Mike's event, but I did want to at least be there to be able to give somebody something that, if you're interested in publishing a book, here's our card. And so rather than a business card, I looked up how to do a zine.
So one of my first jobs as a work term student for Self Published NL was to I wanted to make a 7 steps to self-publishing.
Yes, right.
And I wanted to do one of those continuous Instagram posts where it's like a carousel that you're swiping through, and instead of being separate pictures, it's all one really long picture, and as you scroll through it, it's like you're just, it's continuous.
So Josh made a 7-panel. We broke it down into what are the 7 steps with us when you publish a book with us. What are the 7 steps?
The main big, because we had somebody get in touch one time, and they were like,
"What's the process?"
They were like, "What's the process?" And they wanted, and I thought they were asking. Anyway, they wanted to know what the process was to self-publish with us, and so I thought, what a better way to just make an infographic of here's like 7 steps to self-publishing. It's really easy. You give us the manuscript, you format it, you do graphic design. So the
steps are not how you would self-publish. The steps in that little infographic is what we would do. Yeah. So the steps would be that you give us the manuscript, we format it, we order a proof. We make any corrections, order another proof. Josh does the graphic design for the cover, or if you have your own cover, that's fine too. But we put the cover on, then we order another proof. So you're looking at about 3 different rounds of ordering proofs. And I say that you can do it for free, but it's really worth the investment to spend $6 or $7 to get a proof mailed to your house. So then at the very last stage when you publish with us is that we we get the proofs for you, but at the very end, that's when you set up your KDP profile. And you put your book file in, and you put the cover file in, and we provide them to you, and you self-publish your book.
We pass it over to the author, and it's their responsibility.
Right. So you're setting up your KDP profile. We walk you through it. We help you with the tax interview, but we at no point have your social or your social insurance, your SIN or your social. Nothing like that. It's all you input it. We just tell you where everything goes, and you're off to the races. We just fly, little bird, get out of the nest. We give you a little shove and say, see you later. But you get to pick your categories and your keywords and your everything else. You can order your own author copies. Email is all set up. Everything goes to you once we release everything to you.
So I made that infographic for Instagram.
So that's what started. It was Josh wanted to make an infographic for Instagram, and he said, what are the steps to publishing? We just were having a chat about what is the process. And so
I made that, and then we were talking about what to give out at this at the event, at the signing for Mike's book, the launch.
I have one extra step before we talk about that, about the zine. The infographic that you made that became a carousel for Instagram also works on TikTok and on LinkedIn.
And it's pretty good on Facebook.
Yes. So it has the arrows, and you can scroll through the pictures. So it does this. So the piece of marketing that you made with the 7 steps for self-publishing with us, with Self-Published NL, also is usable on 4 platforms.
Yeah.
So there's marketing out there for reaching all these different audiences.
Yeah. So that was the ideal.
Yes. So it started off as an infographic. And
then so we started talking about what to hand out at the event, and not business cards, but so we thought what we ended up with was, what if we have little miniature books?
We're going to do an accordion thing that folds out this way, but I don't like those because then the back of it, and when do you flip it over?
But it worked. The idea worked best for us that it was a little, 7 or 8 page book, including the back and the front, that has 7 steps to self-publishing, and on the back of it, has got our contact information. So that's the business card. But then when you open it up, it's stapled together in the middle, and it's got a few pages on the inside, and it's all the steps to self-publishing. So that was what we
I was so impressed with that.
Yeah, it looks
so
really
fun.
It looks really cute. So we have
So
one of those book staplers on the way, so we can staple long. You know what I mean? Those long staplers.
And we're going to put little
paper cutter.
We're going to put little cardstock covers on it. It's going to be so cute. They're going to be like this little big. This is amazing.
So hopefully we're going to have little stacks of business card micro books.
Josh called them micro books because what better way to tell somebody that you can make a book than to give them a little tiny book, and they go home with information.
Yeah.
So it's got all the stuff, and it's bigger than a business card, but it's just a cutesy little thing.
Yeah, you're not going to put it in your wallet.
We could do chip clips or we could do magnets and those things, but those little books are they're fun to make, and it's just an 8.5 by 11 sheet, and the way you fold it, this is online, Google it. It's how to fold a pocket mod, and you fold it, blah, 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 and it folds together, boom, little tiny magazine. It's the cutest little thing.
We ended up with a little bit of a different design because we wanted it to fold out like a book, and instead of having the folded pages on the inside of it. And it broke my brain a little bit to figure out how to put them on a PDF to print it off and then fold it up in the right way. But we got it working.
So
I have a file
when
now.
When you're doing the little tiny zine, it's half of the word magazine, so zine. But when you're folding it up, you got to put some panels go upside down and whatever. Yeah. So that was kind of a nightmare. But then when we put it together, there's a couple of little folds in it. So you don't know. When you turn one of the pages, it looks like it's split. And I didn't want to go glue on stuff. So that became, what if we
modified it
one
a
sheet
bit.
that goes in the middle that has four sides, and then what about if we put a little cover of cardstock on for the cover? It was just the sweetest little thing. So and the stapler didn't work. I hope somebody's getting something out of this because I had a great time. So
we should put the final product and maybe part of putting them like the assembly. We'll put it online on Instagram or TikTok or something.
Yeah.
The assembly and the final product and
the evolution of it, starting off with what would we tell somebody if they came to us right now and asked us to publish for them? How would we break down all the steps? And it's okay, this is what worked with Mike. This is what worked with Tina. Here's what we would do different next time. And it was very it was seamless with Mike. We had learned so much doing our own and doing Tina Madigan's
We definitely
book.
had practice before that.
So we basically just sat down to let's do up a menu of what we offer and what prices and stuff we are going to charge going forward. And then it was okay, so let's write it down somewhere, which is also a very good business idea. I think we're learning a lot. I'm learning a lot on your work term, but writing down what we need to do and then going, okay, once it was written, Josh was this will make a great infographic. And then that blossomed into, that'll also go on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And then we had another opportunity to go sponsor this event for Mike Boyle. And it was if we're going to be there anyway, maybe we should at least hand out stuff to, so people can take it home. Yeah. So then that becomes, and so the marketing idea is, we're having a lot of fun, and it all comes down to what do we want to do? What do we want to keep doing?
Yeah.
Because we can publish somebody's book online. We can share files over the internet. So that means we could travel literally anywhere and still be doing this.
People could send us their manuscript from anywhere.
And while we're waiting for all those wonderful clients to come to us with their manuscripts that are going to blow everybody's minds, we are working on some because practice what you preach.
That's right.
I've had all these ideas for a very long time. And I went to register the ISBNs the other day, and I already had one for How to Fail. It's the second round. How to Be a Famous Sexy Writer. That's the first book. It's a guide to self-publishing. The next book is called How to Fail, a guide to self-publishing paperbacks. The next one is called How to Fail, a guide to self-publishing eBooks. Guess what's after that? How to Fail, how to market your self-published books. Guess what's after that? How to Fail, how to self-publish an audiobook. Guess what's after that? How to Fail, a guide to podcasting. It's 5 books. And then hardcovers. So, and of course, every single one of those 5 books is going to have, in between the chapters, coloring pages. So you can take breaks in between all the learning because
learning is hard.
There you go. It is. Especially as an adult, because you're not in that school environment anymore where everybody's giving you an assignment and they check what you know and all that stuff. It's really self-paced, and you need to give yourself a break. You need to pat yourself on the back often, or find somebody to pat you on the back, and I'm your gal. I will pat you on the back every single chapter, and it's based it's in normal human language. It's not over anybody's head. It explains things. And at the end of the day, you can go Google stuff. At least you'll have the language to go Google what you don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a problem sometimes when you're learning a new thing. It's I don't even know what question to ask to look up. If you're learning how to record music digitally. It's like I don't know what arming the recording means.
Right.
Like I don't even know
Yep.
how to find that
And
out.
someone starts using the technical language, and it's like, but it's sometimes stuff that you don't need to know. I don't need to know the KHZ or the up and down. What is it? The transfer. What is it? The rate?
The bit rate.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't care because I don't need to know that. I need to know if I'm doing it wrong. And so you need to know this much knowledge, and then you're off to the races. And then when you get to if you get to some kind of a level where the sound needs to be a certain thing, like when you do, for example, an audiobook, that's when I pass it over to you.
Yeah, there's some pretty specific instructions for the audiobook audio, the actual file. The RMS and the.
Yeah, but in practical terms, it means you can go to Long and McQuaid and rent an H4n, that's just the name of the machine. You can rent a little recorder, sit in a quiet room, like a closet with a bunch of clothes hanging in it, and read your book, and that's your files. But there's little tiny nuanced little things, like you have to wait for a count of 2 or 3 before you start reading the book. There needs to be like a little lead time before the chapter starts, and there needs to be a second or 2 of dead air.
Yep.
After the chapter ends. Little tiny things that, unless you have done one, how would you know that? And the language sometimes, even on the, what's it called? Where you put your audiobooks, ACX, it's called Audible something.
Exchange.
Exchange, yeah. I don't know what the C stands for. But anyway.
Creation or something? Creator?
Audiobook creation exchange, something like that. So there's lots of technical language on that website that is like it needs to be this and this, and it's all these letters and abbreviations and stuff. And so let's put it in plain language. You need a recorder, you need your book, and you need to sit down and you need to speak clearly and slowly, and you need a file for every single chapter. And then at the end of
one of the things that also that we found helpful with that, I don't know if this is too far into the details, but when you were reading your books for your audiobook, turning the pages so we have the little recording bin. It's basically a padded thing that goes around your microphone, and we ended up using a tablet.
Yes.
An Android tablet, so you can swipe through the pages instead of turning a physical paper page.
Because that makes noise.
Because it'll pick up, and you need your noise floor to be non-existent.
Noise floor meaning if we just
like
stop
when we
dead
stop
right
talking,
now, that's our noise floor.
I could see it going down all the way to minus 60 on the levels, which is almost again, like you can't hear anything.
Blah blah blah. Those are words
we have our air exchanger turned off.
So I needed it. I need it in plain language.
Yeah.
No noise in the background. So if you sit next to your fridge, or you sit next to an air conditioner, or your dog is snoring next to you, the noise floor is going to be. But there's also your voice will cover up a lot of the noise floor. So what the issue becomes for that 2 seconds in the beginning and 2 seconds at the end, that needs to be super quiet. But it can be audio edited by an audio editor.
There's a lot that can be done.
But if someone were to come to you and say, look, I can do your book for $7,500, and you're like, but do I get any? Like, what do I get for that? Someone could come and absolutely fleece you if you don't know what you're asking for.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of stuff you could do yourself. So, like, do you need to hire a narrator? No. And people love when you read your own books. And I just had a cringe moment of nobody wants to hear your voice. But I would prefer to hear somebody read their own books.
I love your audiobooks. They're great.
You know who I love? Nate Bargatze. There we go. I mentioned him again today. But his audiobook, oh my God, it's one of the funniest things you'll ever... His book is called Big Dumb Eyes, and it came out in May, and it is so funny. I love him so much. There's rumors that he's only going to do a couple more tours, and then he's done. So the race is on. I know he's playing in Boston in August, and I want to be in Boston, Massachusetts on August 9th when he's playing there because it's like, I want to see him live. I can't even explain it. I love him so much. Mm-hmm. He is so funny. He's such a constant companion to me. I just love his comedy. I love I love everything he does so far. I mean, unless there's a big scandal and then I don't know him. But back to audiobooks.
Yes, audiobooks.
The stuff that it all comes down to for me. I've been asking myself a lot of these questions because now that we're about to do marketing for these books, like, it really is pushing me back up against the wall to say, why are you doing this? What is the message you want to put out in your marketing? Like, why would somebody buy your book and not the hundreds or dozens or whatever, how many is already out there on self-publishing? And it was like really asking that question of, why do I want this? And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many books I sell. It feels really good. It's like having a diploma on the wall is another thing that some people put a lot of value in. For me, having a published book on the bookshelf is I I drop dead tomorrow, or if somebody came along and said, you're canceled, you're I don't know, to whatever, your books are like, that's a thing that exists.
It's done.
It's done. It can't be taken away from you. That's an accomplishment. And is it any good? I don't know, and I don't care. It's like, we're not putting myself up against these like criteria of success, and it's like, well, okay, but at the end of the day, as Brene Brown would say, I'm not taking feedback from anybody that's not in the arena next to me. So for me, that's why I want to help teach people how to publish their own books. If we can help along the way and make money, that's amazing. But at the same time, just, sometimes I can just slide a book across the table and say, look, here, you can do it for free. It's for the low price of whatever. Have this book.
Time, really.
You could put a little extra time in and listen to the podcast, and I tell you every step, every step of the way.
Yeah.
But the idea is going along with the empowering people to publish their own books. And so there's different levels, right? Like, you write your manuscript. That's the first thing. And it starts off with someone saying to you, you should write a book. I think you should listen to that person, whoever that is. And maybe it's just me saying it, but I think if you're inspired to write a book, there's a reason for that. Not everybody wants to write. But if you do feel that in your bones, if it's an idea that keeps coming back, like Stephen King says that a lot in his book on writing, he said the good ideas keep coming back to you. So if you've had this idea kind of coming back and recurring, maybe it's a nightmare. I don't know. Maybe you hate the idea of writing. But the next step, I feel better when I know what the next step is.
Now, we went to a thing in town last week. There was a marketing meetup.
Yeah.
So it was like
Hey, Orca
one of
put
the
it off. It was amazing.
a local company that does social media scheduling. They have an app that does social media scheduling that's really awesome called Hey Orca. Mm-hmm. And they put off, it was at a local brewery, and it was just a bunch of marketing people, and it was free, and they had snacks, and you got a drink token, and basically it was just a place for marketing folks to come hang out, chat, meet, network. And then they had like a little panel where we were talking about AI and how it is used in marketing, and what's good, what's bad, all that stuff. And there were multiple people at that meetup that you talked to about publishing a book. Yeah. And it was funny to me how often we heard just in that couple hours, oh yeah, I've been thinking about writing this book, or I've got this idea, or maybe I could do a book about this thing that I'm passionate about, or whatever. And it's like, yeah, like it's just like, I think people kind of have that running thought in the back of their head sometimes, like, I could,
if only I knew
how to do it.
Yep. And I think there's something to be said too for broadcasting, like for putting it out into the world. Come to me with your publishing questions. Like, we're kind of drawn to each other. Someone with a publishing question and me with publishing knowledge in the same place is kind of just synergy, right? It's just synthesizing, and it's what do you call it? What are all those marketing buzzwords?
Yeah, no, I got you.
So it's kind of makes sense that I would be in a room with people who want to write books, because here I am going, please send me your books. I'll help you publish. Or I'm excited because I'm publishing more and I'm sharing my knowledge. And also I get to publish a book. I get to have my name on the spine of a book, and we're getting to work together. So all those things together, I tell you, that energy in that room that day, I haven't felt like that since I was at CNA back in 2002 with all these little butterflies, like just little fluttery little people just going from flower to flower, talking to each other, and we were all like finger guns, like.
It's all the idea people.
Oh my! Well, the creative energy in that room was like, and it was funny that how many of the people we met who have only been in their jobs for less than a year. So I looked up a lot of them online afterwards on LinkedIn, and it was like, oh, she's been here for a year. He's been here for a year. I was like, but they were like in their 30s. And it's the same thing. It's like little butterflies. Like, I can't tie me down because I'll die. But it was fluttery, just lots of ideas, lots of electricity, and coming together, and just so happy to meet someone with similar energy.
Yeah.
But it was really great. And so the guy that at Hey Orca, because this is kind of a thing that's coming up in our life now a lot too, is social media scheduling. I don't know anything about that. Like, that's bonkers to me.
And we aren't at a place in our organization where we have that much social, like we can handle
We're
it
about
all,
to.
But I think as we grow, it's going to be like a great a resource.
So it's a whole lot of stuff I don't know. So let's say we do a video, like we've got a really great video of like thumbing through one of the books because I've made a whole bunch of corrections. We got a proof, and it was basically 60 seconds of this is why you should order a proof copy, because I thought this was ready to publish, and
here's all the corrections that I made today.
There was a lot. And then I passed it to Josh, and he made a whole bunch of corrections. And so without doing that, we would have had a book out there with a whole bunch of stuff that would make us cringe afterwards. So a lot of alignment, little spelling things, little tiny things. So now that we have that video content, so it's 60 seconds and it's just raw video. So what do we do with it? Where do we put it? Do we need voiceover to go along with it? Is it going to be text on the screen? Or is it music behind it? What do we do with it? And then, okay, so after we do whatever we're going to do with that video, where do we put it? And what time should we post it? What should be the hashtags? It's such a world of the chances of connecting with someone who wants the information is it's astronomical. Being in the same place at the same time on the platform at the same time as the person who wants it. I just have to trust that it's going to reach people, but it would be really nice to have some power in your back pocket with somebody who could say, here are the times to post, here's the way to post it, here are the best platforms, here's how to reach. Sometimes someone reached out to me the other day and said, have you tried putting these hashtags on your video? I'd really like to see you succeed. And it's what do you mean? You saw it, so why are you you saw it. Why are you giving me advice on how to make more people see it? Because it connected you to me. So
it worked.
Can we just pat me on the back for it reached you? I don't need thousands. I just need, real connection with people who need the information that I'm trying to put out there.
Yeah.
And I guess, what do I need? I guess that's the question I need to ask too, that I talked about last week. What do I want from this?
Right.
And what I want is, let me think about that. What do I want? I don't know.
Just to be loved.
I want a music career. If I'm being totally honest, I'm getting all these projects out of the way because I have been I'd do music if I had any idea about how to be successful at it. And it's well, I guess it's a good thing you're not even trying. So I have all these projects. I keep buying yarn. I keep buying crochet needles, or crochet hooks. And it's once I get all that done, then I can start my music career. And so I did have an idea for a song earlier today. I wrote one for the Songwriter Circle a few weeks back. That's the thing that's kind of pushing right now is okay, I'll get there. Just let me do all these books that I've been thinking about doing first. And it's really good to make an Excel spreadsheet or what is it on Google?
Sheets.
Google Sheets. So I made a Google Sheet and I wrote down, here's all the books that I'm planning on publishing while Josh is doing his work term with me. And it was 11 books. It was crazy. It was bananas. It's my new word, bananas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even like bananas, but it was, okay, so we got this one manuscript for one book that I wanted to put out. That was the idea. I had an idea for the cover, bloom. But we had this other cover that looks like an eye chart. And I was well, what are we going to do with that? And I was maybe that's supposed to be another thing, which is turning into...
the coloring books.
So how many books is that? So paperback, ebook, marketing, audiobook, and podcasting. That's 5 books in paperback and 5 books in hardcover with coloring pages in between each chapter. That's 10 books plus... This is your work term, okay? This is a lot.
Should I be taking notes? Because
no,
I'm not prepared
I'll
for
send
this.
it to you in a memo tomorrow at the morning meeting. I also have How to Be a Famous Sexy Writer in audiobook, ebook, and paperback. That's 13 publications.
Yeah, that's a lot of marketing.
So it was also a lot to do. So okay, so this book is ready. This one, if we break it up into these 3 sections with coloring pages, okay, so we need to do 39 coloring pages. We need to do, I need an intro for the audiobook one. I need to record the audiobook for the first one. And it was oh my God, I have never had so many ideas all at once in my life.
It's a good place to be.
And so to have someone like a graphic designer, marketing, podcast producer, editor, video editor, all those things in the same house, it's okay, so we're going to pace ourselves. We're going to get it all done.
Yes.
But if we can repurpose, that's the thing. If I wanted to write a brand new book, that's months of work. But if I can repurpose what I wrote and turn it into, I don't know, separate blog posts, every chapter of that book could also be a post on
really
Substack.
Good idea. Yeah.
Or it could be an audio file where I'm taking video of the birds flying around, but there's an audio of me reading the first chapter or reading all the chapters in separate posts. But it's it's repurposing the information, because the information is not going to change unless there's a big update to KDP. And then, of course, you don't know about Ingram Spark and you don't know about draft to digital. I don't care.
Yeah,
I know this one.
Yep.
And someone that's looking for a draft to digital tutorial will find it. They'll be attracted to the people that are doing that. So it's writing down a list of here's what needs to be done. A lot of it can be done as a batch. There's a lot of batch things. I hear that word a lot. That instead of doing one video every couple of days, you sit down and you record 7 videos, and then you have them, and then you have stuff to pick from.
Yeah.
You know? So there's a whole lot of stuff going on there that it's a different brain, and it all comes down to, if I didn't think these books were worthwhile, why would I waste my time writing them? But I did think they were worthwhile, so I did write them. Yeah. So, like, what's the next step and what's the next following through? And I would love, if there was somebody out there that's good at marketing that wanted to write a book that would, like, trade me marketing stuff for publishing their book for them. I mean, it'd be...
We might know some people.
There'd be no money exchanging hands. It doesn't need to. It's, here's the value of what I do, and here's the value of what you do, and, like, this is what we both need right now. So, I don't know, maybe I should reach out to the people that were at that meeting.
That was the whole point of it.
There was a whole bunch of people there wanting to do marketing. And those are things that it's easier for somebody else to do, to draw it out of you. Like, sometimes it's like the simplest little tweak to what you're working on. That's like...
Sometimes it just takes a different set of eyes or a different mouth asking the questions that it's like, oh, I didn't even think of that, obviously. Right. And then you're sitting back going, why didn't I think of that? It's like you just need another perspective.
And I think it is you thinking of it. I think it's you manifesting that person that's going to ask that question, because it's bringing out the stuff you already, most of the time, know. Like, people know way more than they give themselves credit for. And they have answers. Like, they know why they started their companies. They know why they care. They know what they're getting out of it. Like, so putting that expertise down on paper is like, it's a whole other mindset. And I find that very exciting.
Now, listen, I know this is difficult, but... We do have food in the oven that's almost ready. This is going to be a short episode. We've been wall-to-wall marketing and publishing this one. What can we do to wind it up? Give me some
takeaways.
Final thoughts.
Look at you with the marketing.
What do you think? I'm podcasting. I mean, I'm producing. I'll shut up.
You don't need to. Oh my God, no. No, I was just thinking we haven't done an Are You Mad at Me segment. So can we burn through one of those?
Can we burn through it? Let's keep this on the nobody's mad at us. Let's keep this on the publishing, marketing, positive, confident, and encouraging frequency.
It's just a catchy little name that we got then this week.
That's right.
All right. So
are you mad at me? No.
No, not this week. You're doing pretty good this week. Let's keep that going. Can we do a chart on the wall? Can you do graphic design for a chart on the wall? Days without someone being mad at us?
Let's just do one of those chalkboards.
The live counter, like they got on.
Oh, that's a good idea. We went to a bakery the other day that had a live Instagram followers counter, so you could. There was a little bit of a delay, but I followed them on Instagram, and like 2 minutes later, the number went clink.
There was a little bit of a delay.
It was like one of those old-fashioned clocks.
Can you believe how spoiled you are? There was a delay. It was like 2 minutes later.
Yeah.
You were eating pizza while you were waiting.
It was worth it. Yeah.
But I love the live counter. I absolutely love that.
So final thoughts.
So can we do a chart for the wall that says days without someone being mad at us? I love that. Can we put that on a shirt?
It's always 0. Ooh, that's a really good idea. Merch.
I love it. Get on that. Let's put that on your to-do list. Put that on the Google sheet.
Listen, holy crap.
We're both wearing homemade shirts.
I made this shirt, you made that shirt, and I made a shirt for Peter today.
We finished Dawson's Creek, and it didn't end well. Again.
Every time.
7 times I've watched every single episode, and every single time it ends the same way. It hasn't changed. I don't know why I set myself up. But anyway, this shirt is from the very best scene in Dawson's Creek. This is when we first started out doing screen printing. This isn't even a screen print. I don't know what this is. But anyway, it's when Pacey buys the wall for Joey, and she hasn't touched it. And there's like a whole emotional scene, and he rents the wall for another month for her, and he gets Bessie to trick her into meeting him at the grocery store or whatever, and like she's like, what are you doing here? And he like takes the bread out of her. He takes something out of her. He takes like a chocolate bar or something out.
He starts eating her groceries because she didn't really need groceries.
Yeah, he starts chomping on the chocolate bar that she bought or whatever, and she was like, what are you doing here? So he rents the wall, and he said, well, I don't know. You asked me a question, and now I'm asking you a question, and now you're the one, and now it's your turn to stare at the wall. And so he writes, ask me to stay on the wall, because he's about to go on a boat for like the whole summer, and about
instead
to leave.
of asking him to stay, she goes with him.
Gets on the boat with him. Oh my God, I can't even.
Okay.
Anyway, that was beautiful. So that's what this shirt came from, and I really love it. And so we make our own merch, and we make our own stuff, and we're having a really good time. And
I like the idea of the Days Without an Incident board.
I mean, that's pretty perfect. It's a good mug. We should make mugs. So the beautiful thing about having a Cricut machine and infusible ink printer and mugs and blanks and all those things, and a graphic designer partner, is that when you make a logo, that can be made small for a mug, or it can be made big for a shirt, or it can be put on
a banner.
It can be put on all kinds of things.
We're gonna have to make a banner for the launch party for Mike's book.
or launch party for our, like, I would say it's kind of
we need a banner anyway.
It's almost embarrassing to say we're releasing 11 books. It's like, that sounds insane.
Or we could just keep it, just stretch it out
for
a couple years.
Or do we do a launch party every so often? But like when those books go online, it's like I just feel like it's going to help a lot of people because they will learn, and also they got the coloring pages.
That's the whole point.
You know, and it's in 2 different formats because we're not going to do ebooks for a coloring book. That's insane. That's bananas. But having those 2 formats, I'm very excited about that. So what are the takeaways? I want these books to be the answer to the next question for somebody who is thinking about, who has been told at least once, maybe twice in their life, you should write a book. I'm here to say it a third time, you should write a book. Share your expertise. It is not just the creative part of it. It is also a good business idea because it is the new business card. Yeah. It's a way to show somebody, this is what I know. And if you want to work with me, here's my personality in a book form. If you like me when you finish the book, we're going to get along fine. If you're turned off by the first few pages, then you're probably not listening to this podcast
good
either.
To know.
It's good to know. Good information. I'm not going to take it personal. But at least it removes that whole, let's get to know each other for a couple of years. And then you find out, like, oh, she gets on my nerves, Yeah. And when she gets really hyper, she eats too much cake, whatever. But it's like, it is the new business card, and it's a way to share your expertise. And the theme that has been coming at me all week long is your mess is not something to be ashamed of. It's what other people can learn from. Because if I can save you 10 years of heartache, by telling you the mistakes I've made in film or music or writing or whatever, and you can just skip ahead with all the knowledge that I've put together.
And that's How to Fail.
Well,
we did it. That's the whole point of How to Fail, right? How to fail in that I did these things and I made these mistakes and learned these things, and then you don't have to do this the same route.
I'd stretch it over a little tiny bit. I'd pull it over a little bit this way. It's the bed sheet. Put it over to this corner. The concept of how to fail is not necessarily let's plan for falling on your face. It's, first of all, let's make it more fun. If you plan on failing, then it takes the pressure away of getting it perfect. But more importantly, how to fail, the reason we're calling the series How to Fail is that it's freedom. It's the idea of giving it a try, and it's okay to make a mistake, and it's surviving the falling down that I think I bring to the table. Like, I know that my gift in this life is I make people feel good about their lives. And sometimes it's because mine's going so crazy, or maybe it's because whatever.
Sometimes it's because you're very supportive and encouraging and very good.
Maybe so. So if it comes out in that format of here's some encouragement, here's the next step in plain language, as a teacher, as an educator or facilitator, whatever, it facilitates learning. If that works, then I would consider myself very successful, and that I would say that was a job well done, and I'm very proud of it. And I hope it helps people, and I hope they have fun. And I'm looking forward to just doing the marketing.
I'm very excited about the books.
I'm looking forward to coloring the pages just for the marketing videos.
That's fun. We're gonna fight. We're gonna fight over those. And you did say earlier that I designed the coloring pages, but you did over half of them. Like, we sat and you just would draw, and I put them in, like, I took your pictures and put them in a digital form, but. But your name is on there. It was a co-illustration. Both of us. Yes. So.
And we're going to be doing more. And this might be the wrong time to bring it up, but I have always wanted to do a children's book. People say that, and it's like, really? But I get it. Yeah. And I came across, I was looking for some paperwork, and I came across a manuscript that I did about 2 years ago for a Ginger Sparkle Dust book. Yep. And there's a Ginger Sparkle Dust shirt. She's my favorite, next to Paula, who's my puppet persona. And do we call it?
They're pretty much the same.
They are the same. And Emily,
one just has on a Santa hat.
Well, Ginger Sparkle Dust is just me dressed up, but it's the same personality that comes out when I am Paula. When Paula talks, which I never put that together before. But we do have another puppet that's Emily, and she's like more of like the soft-spoken, maybe we should do the right thing here instead of being bananas. But I found a manuscript that I had for Ginger Sparkle Dust book from about 3 years ago, and it ended up being a video, but I think I need to go back because I had like a 36-page book. It just needs illustrations. And then last year, we did another Ginger Sparkle Dust book. It's 2 Christmases ago.
Yeah.
There are actually
That was when I was just starting the graphic design program.
There are 2 manuscripts right now for Ginger Sparkle Dust. And so if we are practicing, and I don't know if it would be a children's book or if it would be a coloring book that you could color the pages in I don't know. I don't know who the market. I don't know who would want a Ginger Sparkle Dust book.
There's a lot of opportunity and possibilities happening.
So that's 13. That's 15. That'll be 15 more books. We could do that in hardcover as well. But so the thing is,
hardcover children's books are nice.
When the ideas are coming, it's a good idea. Like, well, it needs to be 75 pages actually to be hardcover. So,
does it?
Yeah. So a children's book would be pretty long. So maybe I don't know. I love coloring Christmas pages. I'm such a sook. I love like the fireplace with the stockings and the wood, the cabin with the snow on it and the lake with the snow. And I love that stuff. So I'm excited to be doing just doodles to,
it's pretty fun.
It's pretty fun. And it's nice to say, you know what,
I'm super excited about the books coming in the mail and the proofs and getting to hold them and see them and color them. That's going to be fun.
At this point, it is super easy for us to self-publish. And so I hope I didn't skip too many steps. So I guess I need some beta readers, or
That's
if you want to,
yeah.
I think what I will do is I'm going to send copies to the people who have been on the podcast as a thank you, and maybe a mug with a 0 days without someone being mad at me mug. But I think that's a good way to get a few people to read it that maybe want to give it a try, see if you can try the steps out, and see if it works. Like, see if I left any pieces out, as a beta reader. Right?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know how to do that. I don't even know how to do that.
So we'll probably be back next week.
Was that succinct?
We'll probably be back next week with some books to show.
Well, yeah, they're coming this weekend.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Because it was only an extra couple of days to come from, I think they print in New Jersey. But anyway, so the Canadian ones come from Canadian printers. So there's How to Be a Famous Sexy Writer's coming out. And then the other ones. There's a whole bunch of other ones.
How to Fail coloring books. All right, folks.
Are we going to wrap the podcast into your work term? Does this count?
This is marketing. This is self-published marketing. 100%.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So do you have any clips you can pull out of this that we could use for Pinterest or LinkedIn?
Definitely.
You think?
I am a video editor.
Well, I think you should take a break just to work on the coloring pages, and we could get the 1 Pound Gorilla team to...
The team, yeah.
We need another name for the team.
I like 801 Pound Gorilla.
801? That's a bit close to the monkey bone.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in again.
Yes, we love you so much. Thanks for listening. This is episode 28 of Are You Mad at Me? I'm Vicki Morgan.
And I'm Josh Morgan.
And this is always such a pleasure. And of course, the couch is here. I know the dogs are on it. So if you don't mind dogs,
They're very
join
snuggly.
us on the couch. Thank you for listening every single week. And please keep writing.
We'll see you next week.